Hey guys, so here bringing you another video. Now welcome to something pretty big. This is another Huzzy dev video, but this is a doozy. So this is state of gameplay and it's dated September 2021, but this is arguably the biggest dev state of gameplay that I've ever seen. So just to kind of give you a little glimpse of what we're going to be talking about today, patch balance in general, the different things within it, pro play meta, item balance, champion releases that have happened this season, competitive gameplay and behavioral systems with dodging and matchmaking and disruptive behavior in general. They're going to talk about pre-season of what's to come as well. So a crazy amount to talk about. We'll try to get through it all at an okay pace, but it's really good to see. Like, I love that Riot is being more communicative. Is that a word? Sure. I think it's healthy for a game. I genuinely do. So the fact that they are giving us these insights, I think, is more than valuable and more than needed, I would say, because a lot of us haven't loved this season. For me personally, it is my least favourite season of all time. In terms of game enjoyment, of how I've enjoyed the actual game, the video game, of how it's felt, the balance of it, playing the actual video game, it has been my least favourite. So well, let's see how it is. So, this is from Riot Brightmoon. If we just quickly see who they are. So, Riot Brightmoon is the new, or current, lead gameplay producer. So, literally, he leads up the gameplay on team, working with champions, competitive, Summoner's Rift, and all those teams. So, he is, like, the top guy in terms of, like, League of Legends nowadays, I guess. So, I want to talk to you. I've told you in a few lol pleases and season start videos before, but this is the first time I'm writing a blog. My name is Jeremy, and I make sure everything our gameplay teams do is in service of giving you the most competitive, fun, and high-quality game experience possible. For this state of gameplay, I want to check in on how balanced, champion, and competitive projects have gone over 2021, and where we're focusing our energy to improve League in the coming months. So I will say, the only thing that, if this... just personally for me, and you guys can let me know as well, if they kind of go through this article and blog self-congratulatory behaviour, going, we did a great job here and a great job there and a great job there, I am going to lose all hope for League, because I don't think I'm the only one that is not enjoying League. The amount of people, of my friends that don't play the game anymore, fellow content creators that aren't playing anymore, even in my community live on stream, in my comment section, the amount of people that are saying, I don't play anymore, this season's completely killed it for me, is more than I've ever seen. So I don't think I'm alone in thinking it's been a bit rough. So yeah, let's see if Riot think they've done a good or a bad job. I don't expect Riot ever to say they've done a bad job, to be honest, because which company's going to do that? But we'll see. We will be able to judge by the language that he uses, I think, a fair amount. So patch balance. So the one thing I will give props for in League is the amount of patches that they do is fantastic. Every 2 weeks, it's healthy. It updates the game. It's how an older game like League, over 10 years old now, can stay really relevant. And I will also just mention the number here and the bottom down there. I am recording this during a subathon. My audience is watching right now, but I just thought it'd be a good thing to do live as well. So I might ask them every now and then what do they think, but yeah. So let's start with patch to patch champion balance. We've been using our champion balance framework to guide our balance work and have seen good and stable results. On any given patch, we tend to only see a small handful of champions crossing overpowered thresholds, and the vast majority of the year, every champion has been a viable and at least one of the 4 skill levels. Since current framework has led us to a stable state of balance for most games, we think we can investigate improvements around some variables without putting patches at a significant risk. So this is where I actually would very much differ from League, and this is the point, is that they're happy with it. I have been hating the balance of the game the last couple of years since they implemented this new framework. So if you don't know what that framework is, I did a video on it when they announced it initially, but basically it's, we're not going to balance the game as human beings anymore. We're going to go off data. That's how they balance the game. So they go off literal data, not the feeling of the game. To me, the feeling of the game is more important than data. Data does not show you everything. There have been some of the most broken champions in the game with some of the worst stats in data. Azir and all those champs, Akali. But every single high rating or pro or decent solo queue player would tell you those champs are busted. But the data would not nerf them. So I think it's a really flawed system to go off data personally. But yeah, So experienced win rates, and this is one of the kind of the data that we talk about, is Riot probably values win rates too highly. But the balance framework focuses on the average success of a champion without significantly accounting for how strong the champion is in the hands of dedicated mains. The goal of balance is to ensure everyone has a fair chance of winning if they play well. So even though we want to experienced mains to be rewarded for dedicating a ton of time on the champion, they shouldn't command such a higher win rate that victory becomes unrealistic for the enemy in the champ select. So, like, I don't know. They're saying here, I guess, that maybe they're saying here, if I'm reading it well, Twitch chat, you can tell me if I am. Maybe they're saying we're going off overall average success too much, because that isn't an indication on the champion, right? If an average win rate is 48%, oh, that champion's weak. But then every single player that plays it really well in Challenger's got a 62% win rate. Maybe that champion is too strong in the good hands, in the good players. Again, League of Legends used to, and you can see that the design philosophy has changed. The League used to be a top-down game, that they balance from the top down. They still do that in relative theory, that they balance the game a lot for pro play and then it trickles down. But what I think they've done bad is that they've gone from an old standpoint of they trickled down from, they used to do pro play at the top, then challenger, then, grandmaster, master, diamond. That's how they balance the game. Now they don't do that. Now they put pro play at the top, and then basically average play is then the next big one. I don't think that's a healthy way to balance the game. Like, especially when every single person, pretty much every ranked player's aim is to get to higher rank. I think you need to balance for higher rank. I think when every content creator, every streamer, every pro is also playing in higher rank, that's what everybody is seeing. I think, yes, pro play is important, but I think the high rating is also important. Diamond and above, hell, even challenger and above, or whatever you want to say. I think that should be really looked at. And maybe this is what they're admitting here as well, is it's not the average success of a champion that might be the most important. It's when the mains in high rating have got such a powerful win rate because the champ is strong. It's just not strong in an average person's hands. That is the difference. So, yeah. So if that is what I'm reading, and right, it's like we could improve it by looking at main win rates, then that's probably good, I would say. Low play rate champions. So certain champions are seen too infrequently to raise flags in current champion balance framework, even if they've been sitting at a higher win rate for extended periods of time. While this overlaps with the latest bullet, we want to be clear, just because a champion is low play rate doesn't mean it's just a few dedicated mains playing them. Joe and Natalia, thank you so much, dude. Appreciate it. Oh, yeah, we're in the subathon, but you missed the announcement. Oh, no worries, dude. Thank you so much for the 50 months of Tier 2 subscription. That's crazy. Thank you. But yeah, so they're basically saying, just because a champion is low play rate doesn't mean it's just a few dedicated mains playing them. Some champions like Aurelion Sol see a small but steady rotating door of players trying him out for a few games and then moving on. We want to adapt our current champion balance framework to be able to account for these cases as well. So these 2 points do kind of contradict each other a little bit, and they do admit that at the beginning, like down here, is if a champion's got a low win rate or a high win rate, it doesn't mean it's broken or not broken. Like, it's weird that they are kind of contradicting each other. Like, mains can have a crazy broken win rate, and that means they should nerf the champion. But on the flip side, if a champion is hardly played, that it's got a good win rate, but because they only have a good win rate because only mains play it, well, then maybe the champ is underpowered, actually. Like, it's weird, but I think it's okay. Next up is our elite player segment represents the top 0.5 of players, roughly Diamond 2 and higher. One of the challenges of balancing for this group is that there are significant fewer matches being played, which is true, which means we have less data to work with. The framework already uses more than one patch to account for this, but we're investigating possible threshold changes or new strategies we can use to ensure we are making balance changes that are hitting the right targets for this segment. So this is what we actually just spoke about, that Riot used to kind of trickle down high rating down, and their elite play Diamond 2 and above. By the way, I always mentioned that Diamond 2 felt different even before they got this kind of new category system. Diamond 2 really does feel different when you get there. Obviously, I'm in Diamond 2 right now on EU Northeast, but I don't know if that counts. It probably doesn't count. I've been Diamond 2 on EU West this season. Hopefully we'll return to it soon. But this to me is a good thing that Riot is kind of admitting. When you're in the top 0.5%, the difference, the amount of games that you can play in Diamond 2 and above, of like, let's say there's probably about, I don't know, 5 to 7,000 players in Diamond 2 and above, I'd say roughly, on any given server. When you kind of compare that amount of players to what is gold, that there's hundreds of thousands of players, you're going to have a lot less data in Diamond 2 and above. Like, a lot less data. So it's actually really hard to balance for it when you don't actually have all the data or enough data to kind of make that decision. So for me, this is a good thing that Riot is saying, we're going to look into this area more, we're going to look into this rating more, because there's definitely a weakness here that we do need to improve on. So that's good. That's a thumbs up from me. Next one is mid-scope champion work. For some balance issues, like pro versus regular, play skew, or particularly long-standing problems, the most effective approach is to make larger scale adjustments. We've shipped mid-scope updates to champs like Sona, Tam, and Amumu this year, and will continue to look for additional candidates. I think that's fine. Like, I think relatively, I can't, to be honest, speak for Sona, because that champion, she looks the same, like she does the same stuff, so I actually don't know what her update did. But Tam's one was a big success, and Mumu's was a pretty good success recently, I would say. I think it's nice that Riot are making these kind of smaller to medium adjustments without doing a full rework. A lot of these champs, like Tam Kench, they swapped 2 abilities. Amumu, they added a Q extra stack for his Q. Sona, whatever they did. Like, genuinely, I think it is really healthy to do these updates, because it kind of, you don't always need to do a full rework. Sometimes a champion is very close to being good. They just need that extra refresh, a little refresh, just to keep them going. And I think this is a good way of keeping the game stale when it comes to a champion that does need that extra refresh a little bit. So I think that's good. Pro play meta. So since we're gearing up to Worlds, we want to touch on pro meta. At MSI, we accomplished our goal of no 100 pick or ban champs, though we came very close with Udyr at 95%, Renekton at 93%, and Lee Sin at 91%. We saw 82 different champions, and 4 out of the 5 roles saw at least 10 picks with 5% or more presence support missed the mark, which, to be honest, there is less support champions sometimes in general, especially for competitive level. Recently, our balance changes in the last 2 patches focus almost exclusively on ensuring the world's meta has as much potential for diversity as possible based on how much summer playoffs went. We can't wait, blah, blah, blah. So, again, this is Riot. And let me know, again, Twitch chat, this is the first time I'm going to ask you guys a question directly. Do you care about diversity in League? Like, of how many champions are played at any given time, or how many champs are played in pro play? Do you care? Like, I personally don't. Like, I really don't. I'm completely fine with having, let's just say that every 2 weeks there's a patch. I am completely fine with the meta being in 3-month cycles. That if a league season lasts on average 9 months, every 3 months, they do a bigger patch that diversifies what the meta has been. That's what I would like, and that's kind of what it seemed it used to be. I would say on average, an older season of League used to have about 3 main metas per season. Well, now, obviously, it's just an absolute mess, and it seems harder to balance. So Twitch chat says, on average, most people are saying no, but the one thing that people are saying is you care about pro play being diverse because it's boring to watch the same champions and over again. That's maybe what some people are saying, but on the average, it seems most people are saying they don't care. But from the people that I do see, it does care. Yeah, it seems like watching pro play, you don't want the same 5 champions being rotated, picked all the time. But yeah. But, you know, I will also say, again, Riot has spoken so much about the diversity point. To be honest, there's hardly, like, forgive me if I'm wrong here, but it does feel like there's hardly been any diversity this season. The mid-meta, it's slightly changed recently, but for 7 months or 6 months of the season, it was the same meta the whole time. There's no diversity in that. They killed mages for most of this season. That ain't diversity. That's just forcing stuff that may not be healthy. Again, it's a lot harder to balance a game when you're trying to let every single champion have its time to shine at the same time. It's a lot easier to balance a game when you kind of segment it a bit and go, right, in these 3 months we're having an assassin meta. These 3 months we're having a tank meta. You know, that's my point. It's a bit easier to balance, and it's harder to balance when you're not doing that. But there we go. Next up, item balance, which, again, items definitely missed the mark, but I think, unless I read this and I have not read it yet and Riot completely changes their tune, from what I've seen, Riot is happy with the new items, which obviously makes me a bit worried. But last preseason's item system overhaul brought a lot of change to the Summoner's Rift. Since launch, we've been monitoring the purchase rates and power levels of items across the system from a class-focused perspective: mage, fighter, marksman, tank, etc. Much of our initial work focused on addressing over and underperforming outliers among mythics like Moonstone, Renewer, Stridebreaker, Everfrost, and Sunfire. In some cases, we looked to fill gaps in classes' items choice. That happened during the summer when we added the Chains and the Hullbreaker for top laners and tanks, which both of those items are hardly purchased. We've also adjusted our goals that every champion should have multiple item paths to choose from. While this is still true for mythics, oh, they've actually changed their tune, because I was actually about to make the point. Riot wants diversity in two places. They want champion diversity, that, oh, you can play any champion you want at any given time, but they also, weirdly, in some way, was like, there should be item diversity, and you should be able to build any item you want in any given game, and there shouldn't be a set build path for most champions. To be honest, that's nearing impossible, because in every video game, people work out the most optimal way for an item, or a build, or anything. So I think that one was a far-stretched dream, and it seems that Riot is they're adjusting the goal from item diversity to, we think it's okay if some champions build the same legendary items in most games if it's a perfect fit. But some champs don't have that yet, so this year's preseason will include more offerings. So they're basically saying, we want you to have the diversity in mythics, but when it comes to legendaries, we kind of now have accepted you're going to just buy the same legendaries every game. And honestly, I'm actually happy about that. Like, it's easier to balance. Like, that's what I keep going back to. The items have been a nightmare because they've been trying to force every item in every single game. Don't. It's harder to balance when you're trying to make every single item really strong, because when you buy all these strong items, the items then combined make you overpowered. So I think this is a good thing that Riot's kind of dropping the point of making every item that you can buy at any time. I still, like, mythics, I'm still not a fan of, but sure, go for mythic diversity, go for it. But when it comes to everything else, I think this is a healthier approach. So far, just as a quick summary, this is good, that I do think Riot's dropped that. Pro play, it's pro play meta. They're trying to have diversity for viewership. I'm happy with the little reworks that they're doing. I'm happy that they're looking at Diamond 2 and above for more balance. I'm moderately okay, I guess. It's fine for low player rate champs to be looked at more intently for balance. And I'm also, if I've read this in the correct way, I'm happy that they're going to take average win rates less seriously, and then they're going to look at more dedicated win rates, higher rated win rates more seriously. That's more important, but that's good. So, champion releases. We've released 5 major ones this year, and they are including, obviously, one of the reworks, but it's Viego, Gwen, Mundo, Akshan, and Vex. Is that it? Wait, really? Holy moly, there seems like one's missing there, I swear. Maybe not. So, we got Viego, who is arguably one of League's most broken champions, and even the guy that made Viego pretty much every day jokes about how the champion should be deleted, or he kind of hints at it, and it's like, the champion's just broke. Like, it's an unhealthy kit, and I think most people would probably agree to that. But there's Viego, an AD jungle assassin who possesses blah blah blah. He started with a learning curve, 42% on day 1 win rate to 47.5 on day 7. Since then, his performance outside the jungle has been something we've needed to keep a close eye on. In particular, we had to tone down Viego's lane sustain, since it combined with being a resourceless champion was making it too hard. To shove him out of lane, which is very true. The other notable thing, that the underlying code that allows Viego to use enemy abilities caused quite a few bugs in the game and took us a while to track them down and squash them. So yeah, he was, I think Riot said, the most buggy champion that they've ever released. I still think he's unhealthy. So, I just got to give my opinion. Like, we'll read what they say and just say, I still think he's pretty bad for the game overall. I still think he's what I kind of throw. I said to my stream earlier, there's 2 champions and that I would say are above the line of overpowered, that they are just bad for the game in the fact that you never feel that you've been outskilled by them or the player. You just feel that you've gotten beaten by the champion. And that is Viego and Yone. Those two champions, I legitimately feel that I've never been outplayed by either of them. And it's just the champion that's just like, bang, you're dead, bye. And it's like, oh, great. If there was some outplay potential or like they actually required a bit of skill, I think it would be fine, in my opinion. But neither of them I have ever felt I've got outplayed by. They just press buttons and you're just dying and they both heal a stupid amount. It's like, oh, good. So I don't know. Gwen. So Gwen released in April, and our goal was to bring a lighter thematic to the AP top lane fighter roster. She released slightly stronger than we anticipated. 42% win rate on day 1, 48% win rate on day 7. But these are still healthier numbers than past season new champions. What we have to adjust was Gwen's pro presence, since she was more skewed to pro play than we anticipated. And we had to nerf her early laning as a result. She's in a better state now. We gave her a small buff in the last patch. But we need to monitor her performance to make sure she's still delivering on her fighter fantasy. I mean, overall, I'd say I'm okay with Gwen. It's kind of weird. Like, I'm a mid lane, but I do play top lane quite a lot. Initially, I was like, oh, maybe Gwen would be for me, but I just could not get the grasp of this champion on the PvE, and I was saying how weak she is, and then she came out, and to be fair, she did get a lot of buffs throughout the PvE process. I still just have never picked this champion up. Like, me playing on the PvE has just put in my mind, I just don't want to play this champ. But I've played against them a lot, I've played with them a lot, and to be honest, I will say, I'm fine with Gwen. Like, Gwen, she has a pretty strong kit in a lot of places. She has the immunity W within her area and all that stuff. But overall, in the grand scheme of things, I'm okay with Gwen. Like, I am. Like, I think she's better than Viego by far, for example, when it comes to game enjoyment. So that's fine. Mundo, I don't need to go into the data of Mundo, I would say. But Mundo, I'd say was a successful rework. And that's the point, is Mundo was a very old champion, and Riot obviously's approach when it comes to reworks has changed in the last couple of years. That when they were going to rework a champion, they were going to change a champion fundamentally, and that was Aatrox. And obviously the backlash that Riot received, it kind of put Riot put them off doing any big form of balance or rework. So the way that I would define a rework nowadays is more, I would call it an update. It's like whatever year we're in. Hey, just Mikey. Mundo was a 2021 update of Mundo. Like if Mundo in his current state was released now, this is what he would be. And maybe for most part, I think people like that. I think most people, again, Twitch chat, let's ask you guys, do you like that form of reworks? Do you like that you can definitely still see Mundo in his modern kit? Or would you prefer completely changed champions but just using the same identity? I think most people probably like this form of we've reworked the champion, we've updated the champion, but it's still basically the same gameplay. Mundo hardly changed, you know. He still has the cleaver axe. He still has a running champion. He still has the AoE around him with W. Like, there's minor changes that make him different, but he's still Mundo. And it does seem that Twitch chat is saying you like to recognize the champion after the rework. And yes, people seem to like this format of rework. So that is good. Obviously, who is the next one? Udyr is the next one. And they have, obviously, we did a whole article breakdown of the Udyr one. In that he will be, they said he will still be a running champion. He's still going to be a shapeshifter. He's still going to be a form champion. So we'll see how the Mundo one goes when it comes out. But I'd say Mundo's is fine. Again, he did release a little bit too strong. And they have powered him down a bit, so, you know, Mundo isn't in every game. And to be fair, it's not a tank meta right now, so that's probably also why you're not seeing too much Mundo. Akshan! So Akshan, just reminding everybody, if they haven't changed anything, he's been banned in Worlds. And to be fair, this champion has a few bugs here or there, but I kind of think I know why he got banned in Worlds, and Riot's admitted it to themselves. So I think, by the way, because I just read this, I read a bit down. He released late in the season. He's released fair with completely enough time to be played in Worlds. I think there's one point that Riot has made right here, this point. we accomplished our goal of no champion being 100% pick or ban. The reason why I don't think Akshan is going to be in Worlds is because he would be 100% pick or ban. He would. In pro play, he's broke. Like, he is. His damage is higher than people think. It's not that bad. Pros can play it really well, so they can snowball with him. And he has a revive mechanic. Like, bleh. Like, I genuinely think, like, he'll be 100% pick or ban, and that's what Riot doesn't want. So, he's an AD marksman assassin hybrid, designed for mid lane. And his character and gameplay about being a hero, being flashy, and all that stuff. So, he overall, Akshan struggled to win in the first 2 patches. Day 1 win rate was 39%, which only rose to 45% by day 7. You know, in comparison, like, it's a lot lower than the other champions, but he has a much different playstyle. And just reminding people, he was released in a meta that sucked for him. He's an AD mid laner. He was released in an assassin meta in mid. Assassins kill AD mids. Like, any AD carrier. Lucian mid has died and was dying because of assassins and stuff. Like, he's not good versus them. So, no wonder he released also. Like, 1, people are learning the champion, and 2, it's a bad meta for him too in solo queue. Also, let me just quickly do something. I just noticed that 8:30, my screen's turned orange. Let's just make sure that doesn't happen because it has just reached 8:30 at night. So we've been slowly adding power to Akshan as he continues to settle in. Though one important call out, we won't be seeing Akshan in Worlds this year since he released too late. Again, I don't think it's for that reason, but anyway, we'll be keeping a close eye on his pro performance in next year's spring split to see what changes he may need for the audience. See, that's the point. They don't want him to be in Worlds because they're probably scared he's going to be 100% pick or ban. So when they enable him for the regular season, will he then become a 100% pick or ban in summer split, spring split, whichever split it's going to be? Will he then be 100% pick or ban then? I guess it'll be spring. He probably will be. Like, in pro play, this champion just seems a little bit too nuts, but we'll see. And then what they're probably hoping is that they'll be able to balance him enough for the upcoming Worlds next year that they will be able to allow him to be in Worlds. That's probably the point. And then someone say they don't want a non-perfected champion in Worlds. Oh, there's many of those. That's not true because, yeah, there's many non-perfect champs. Most champions are not perfect. They just don't want a 100% pick or ban champ. Like, that's the point. So we now have Vex. So Vex, obviously, I will say I'll be playing or recording this. I have played 3 games of Vex today, and I'm liking her. I do think she's on the strong side of balance, and I do expect some nerfs for her. But her kit, I think, is good. And yeah, that's also the point. Viego still has many bugs, by the way, but he's being allowed in Worlds. He's still broke. But he's being allowed in Worlds. I genuinely think they don't want Akshan because they know he's going to be 100% pick or ban. So, yeah. But yeah, anything they note of the Vex, obviously, this is literally a couple of days after release, so they're not going to have the data for her, but I like her a lot, like, just genuinely. And they just say, we'll have a new champion roadmap releasing shortly, so look forward to that. So we'll make a video on the champion roadmap, so it'll be telling us which champions are coming. If I'm not mistaken, the final champion maybe of the year is a support. I could be wrong, but I think it is a support, so that should be interesting. It might be a tank support as well, maybe. But yeah, so I don't need to read through all this because I know Vex, you guys know Vex. You've probably watched 2 or 3 of my Vex videos in the last few days, so I'm very happy with her. I do think she is strong, and I am expecting some nerfs, but yeah. Competitive gameplay and behavioral systems. Again, a long update, by the way, so hopefully you're still with me. Half an hour roughly in it so far. So, these spaces have been slowly converging over time, which reflects the kind of feedback we hear from you. Game-ruining behaviour isn't just game-ruining because it's unpleasant to experience. It damages your chances of actually winning games, which takes us into the competitive space. We like to look at it at this space as an ecosystem of around game experiences that directly influence gameplay before or after you're actually in a match. Interesting. Wait, read paragraph 2. We're here. Finally, I want to share a discussion we are having internally. By the numbers, new champions have released pretty balanced in 2021, but you hear many of you telling us that new champions are still OP. Clearly, something's going on that hasn't captured by win rate. Oh my god, that's the best paragraph I think I've ever seen in my life. So that's the point. Literally, oh my god. So literally, that's the point. We're all screaming that these champions are crazy strong. Even Yone, let's include him. Like, like Twitcher, they finally woke up. We've been screaming that these new champions are strong, and they're like, but the win rate doesn't say so. Stop focusing just on win rate, Riot. Oh, God. Again, most people in gold and above know you don't focus just on win rate. It's mad. Thank you much, Kralopus, for the 27 months as well. I was actually thought I was watching a VOD, you pleb. Thank you so much, dude. But yeah, like, oh, that right there, so far, this whole article for me is complete. Everything else is irrelevant. That is everything. All the new champions are stupidly strong, and Riot's been like, they're fine. They're not. They're really not. Oh, thank you for pointing that out, by the way. Who pointed that out? Hackvad. Thank you for letting me, telling me to read that. That has actually made me excited. Thank you. Jesus. All right, so let's get into it. Dodging. I know this one is controversial. We treat dodging as a problem because one person's decision not to play out a lobby throws 9 other people back into queue, especially at high MMR where queues are already long. This leads to play sessions where you're in queue or champion select for hours and only get 1 game in. There's also literally cost players money in regions where PC cafes are prevalent, so in like Korea, for example. Oh, there are 2 more champs this year? Oh, maybe. Which is, again, it's a true point. I think, again, dodging happens in many different ways. Some people dodge because, dude, our comp sucks versus those. There's no point playing. I'm leaving. That is one big point of dodging. But there actually is other points of dodging that Riot needs to look at. So, like, someone being toxic in your game, or like if they're hovering Ghost Flash Nunu, or Ghost Cleanse Nunu, and they're going to do Disco Nunu in mid lane and run it down. You're not wanting to play that game. They're trying to force a dodge on you. You shouldn't be punished for that dodge. You shouldn't be. Like, you're going to lose more LP for the game that you already know is a loss. So there's not a perfect thing to punish dodging. But anyway. But at the same time, some players feel dodging is their only option when lobbies are being held hostage. That's the point. When a teammate straight up says, I'm going to int if no one dodges. Neither of these experiences we want for any player, but we don't think challenges is one area should prevent us from making improvements to the other. So they're going to punish dodging, but they're not going to fix the other bit, is kind of what I'm reading here. There's also a grey zone you or we may never agree on. If a teammate is on a losing streak or picks a champion they have a low win rate on, or a champion we just nerfed, or your comp has a bad matchup, we believe you should still be expected to play that match out. But some players disagree. To us, Champ Select is a skill test that you can set your team ahead or behind even when you can't control the actions of your teammates. Like, how many in-game skill tests also rely on being able to coordinate with those teammates? See, this is where, yeah, I don't fully agree with what Riot's saying here, because I actually think it's a bit stupid. Like, there's no skill, so, like, it's a skill test. It's not a skill test that your top laner has decided to lock in a champion that they've got a 2% win rate on in 100 games. Obviously, that's an extreme example, but that's not a skill test. By any stretch of the imagination, there is not a skill test in that at all. Like, 0. There's not a skill test to, oh, my support main is now playing Yasuo mid lane because they're tilted and they think they can do better in mid than they can support, even though we're in Diamond and they've never played Yasuo and they main Soraka. That's not a skill test in that situation. Like, there's no skill to that. It's a weird use of words. Like, I really disagree with that completely. It's weird. Philosophy aside, here's where we're at with results. We recently upped the penalties for players who dodge 3 times a day, leading to a notable increase in successful lobbies, which is good. But the reducing dodging requires more systematic solution than just queue time punishments. The reality is that dodging feels like a winning strategy at high tiers of play, which is true. If you're in Challenger, or let's say, not even Challenger, let's say Diamond 2 and above, their elite tier, that Riot claim as the elite tier, most players at that tier are pretty damn good at the game. Like, they're pretty good at the game. And when you're in a champ select and you just have flat out a worse comp, and everybody in the Diamond 2 and above game knows which comp is better or worse, I'd say 80% of those matches, 75, 80% of those matches, the comp that has the better team, the better team comp is just going to win the game. Like, because all the players are good, it just goes off comp. Loon Call, thank you so much, dude. 43 months tier 1 says, just getting back from the all-day lab. Glad I could catch some of today's stream. Thanks, dude. Hope you're doing well. But yeah, so that's the point, is most people in those ratings know a game as a win or a loss mainly through their comp at that level. So when they dodge at that level, they're like, well, I just saved myself a loss that I knew was going to happen because of comp. So they see it as a victory, and that's what Riot is saying here. In order to change that, we have to address the underlying causes that encourage that type of behavior. We believe this requires a shift in how the lobby experience is presented and plays out. I'm leaving this vague for the moment because we're still working on designs, but we've heard your feedback, are investing more in time and energy into addressing dodging systematically in the coming months. Interesting. Is that, again, we've heard your feedback. The majority of feedback that I have heard through my own community and League a little bit in general is we should have more bans. That makes a champ select a lot easier when you yourself have a couple more champion, like one more champion that you'd ban all the time. Or most people would have that one champion that they just don't want to play against and they want to ban one overpowered champion. They can't do that right now. So maybe that's the feedback. Who knows? But, yeah, we'll see what that means. Matchmaking, next up, is we'll never stop working on matchmaking until we get it right. So I can safely say we'll never stop working on matchmaking. So here's what's going well this season. At all ranks, players are getting their primary role more than 90% of the time. At all ranks, match-made teammates are within less than a full tier of each other in 99% of games. At all ranks, queue times have decreased relative to 2020. Again, I don't care about queue times that much. I care about game quality over queue times. We've also seen positive results on removing smurfs, and those that are significantly misplaced from the general play population. But there are a few specific cases that interact oddly with our did we tag your skill level correctly detection. We'd like to dig into questions like how does when you start playing ranked in the season, that is not good English, I think, affect where you're placed on how well you match against others. So what they're saying is, if you start the season not like the beginning and you start it halfway through, maybe it's going to detect you as a smurf or something because, oh, you've not played, for the first 5 months of the season, you're doing really well, you must be a smurf, when you might have just not have played any ranked. So that is a good point. Next up is how are players that have taken a break from League represented in the system? I've heard this one a lot. Haz, I took a 2-year break. I'm still not bad at the game. I came back in Silver, but then the game now thinks I'm in Smurf. I've been put in Smurf queue. I'm not a Smurf. I've heard that one quite a lot, so that is definitely something that they should look into. Next up is what behavior drives players at the top of the ladder to decay quickly, causing them to be wildly misplaced. So wait, what behavior drives players at the top? Is this the one? Again, I have heard that there are some people out there that automatically try to tank accounts, but I think that's probably more like toxic streamers trying to get low or inflated accounts for Smurf series and stuff. I don't know. Like that one I'm not completely about. And then finally is how well are we matching new players against other new players? And what does that look like when a fresh level 30 joins players who are statistically at the same skill level as them but have been playing for years? So yeah, sometimes a brand new player might be worse than other players. Some of them might be better. to be honest. So there's that. Again, people are talking about skill tests in League. Riot, unless they change their tone or tune, they're never going to do voice comms. Again, I personally would probably quit the game if they ever implemented them, and I know a lot of people would as well. And Riot know that. But yeah, I don't think they're ever going to do voice comms. I think voice comms would probably kill League more than help League, and I think also Riot know that. The only rating that I would probably say voice would be any good for is probably that Elite and above. Maybe in Diamond 2 and above, voice chat would work properly, but other than that, it would be terrible. Again, someone saying is that it worked fine in Dota 2. Dota 2 was built with voice. You can't force, after a 10-year-old game, making something like that big, like voice chat, in a 10-year-old game would kill it. Like, completely. Because it would divide the player base to the point that people would be basically at war on either side. It's just easier not to do it. And I think Riot know that. Again, I've had conversations with Rioters, devs, and I've actually asked the question, are you ever going to do voice chat? And I've been categorically told, no, we're never going to do it. So unless someone like a new head of Riot or a head of Balance or a head of Ranked comes out and goes, we're doing it, they're not going to. And I think that's good. Again, it would be really bad. And from what I will say, just as a an overlooming point, I will just say, and maybe people won't agree, it does seem the more toxic individuals want voice comms than the non-toxic individuals, and that's just what I've experienced myself. But I don't know. And then finally, all these points as the direction of better calibrating what qualifies as smurfing and how it impacts matchmaking. There's certainly more to work out to do to ensure League is engaging and fair, especially if you're coming back from a long break or you're just on a win streak. So yeah, some people have been put in smurf queue when they've just been on a good win streak, and they're not a smurf, they're just on a win streak. So that's overall all good. So then we have disruptive behavior. Again, what a crazy big article. This is actually going to bring me to the end of day one of the subathon as well. Over the past year, we've made some short-term improvements to our player behavior systems. We're now alerting when a player is punished after you report them, so you have better visibility into certain punishments. Our automated systems can catch and punish more AFKs and inters than in the past years, and we want to make them even better. Our ideal state is where every player is playing to win and no one experiences harassment. I mean, that's all well and good to have a dream of doing that, but it's never going to happen. But someone is saying, like, I'm against that. I love to get voice chat. If they're toxic, just mute. Again, that isn't a good point, unfortunately. You're completely, again, oh God, how do I explain? League right now has no voice chat, so there's no negative whether you're on voice chat or with voice chat. And if you want voice chat, you can link a Discord server and you can have it if people join. But when you suddenly implement something that is not been in the game for over 10 years, you're then forcing a choice on people to make, I'm either going to have this voice chat or I'm not going to have this voice chat, dividing the player base. And if you're on a team that really works well together in voice chat, it's going to be like you're a pre-made 5 team and you're going to win probably quite easily. But I'd say for the majority of games, it's not going to work that way. Especially, I think a lot of people don't even realize, like places like Europe have a crazy amount of languages. And not everybody speaks the same language. Like maybe Americans will be like, we can do it in America. Maybe. But like not everywhere is America. And like then there'll be toxicity to, I'm never going to use voice chat myself, and then I bet there would be a type of toxicity that will be, get on voice chat, you're losing us the game because you're not on voice chat. I'm never going to join it. There's going to be all those complicated areas that they're never going to be able to fix. And let's be honest, Riot have basically very little control over toxicity within a typing-based system. A type-based system that you're typing your evidence of being toxic. There's no hiding from that. Riot have no control over a type-based system. They'll have zero control over a voice-based system. Like, it's never going to happen. And again, the points that there'll be advantages and disadvantages, there's too many negatives for it to ever be a thing. And again, yeah, people in Twitch chat saying as a female, you'd hate it. There's just too many factors that would be unhealthy for voice chat. And generally, again, it's the toxic people that want it. Like, from what I've always experienced, on average, I'm not sure. I'm sure some of you who want it aren't, I'm sure. But for the most part, it does seem to be that way. And I'm not too surprised. Because, yeah. Anyway, next up, though, There's that. So one thing we haven't talked about much is that all of Riot Games share this goal, and we've been building a centralized technology to help us get there. It's not technically a League of Legends topic, so we're sure you'd be interested. This centralized system is taking time to create, but we're over a year in and expect to start seeing results with new capabilities soon. These could include better voice communication options, which, again, just making the point clear, we just had this whole talk of voice comms. That doesn't mean voice comms for League. As I mentioned, it's not a League of Legends topic because Valorant has been built with voice chat, for example. But better and faster detection of hate speech and griefing, and more flexibility in how we issue penalties. So they're basically building a central behavior system that's going to be used for all of the Riot Games properties, and obviously some of them will use only some of the points and some of them will use all of them or whatever. So I mean, it's good that they're investing a brand new system based technology. Yeah, the MMO will probably use this as well. That's good. Like that it's a more modern version. It's going to be faster, it's going to be better. That's overall a good thing. The reason we're bringing this up is because we only can do so much with the old reporting system, although we do think we can still draw out a little more value in the short term. First and foremost is continuing to iterate on the reporting confidence work we've done, which increases our automated system's confidence in whether on the line behavior should be penalized and whether that on the line behavior is actually just griefing. Continued level ups here and will help each report you issue make a bigger impact. So they're basically saying, even though we have this big new system that we're developing for all of our games, we're not going to stop developing the old one. We're going to develop it as much as we need to make it feel good, which is fine. And then two more things we want to quickly mention. First is Honor. This feature has been falling short for a long time. We're currently discussing options to revamping the system in more effective in 2022. Second, in case nobody has ever tried this, let me straight up. Please be cool to each other. Play to win. And be the kind of player you want on your team. Problem solved now, right? To be fair, Riot's never actually just said that straight up. They never like imagine if a toxic person logs in to a message, not of you've been punished. Imagine if they log into a message going, yo, we've noticed that you're quite toxic. Can you just be nice? You don't know what your teammates are going through in life. You don't know what you're going through. But it's surely not making any of it better by you being toxic in a video game. Like, maybe that's the approach they need to go with. Like, I'm a person on the internet. I'm a content creator. I've been around for a long time. Comment section, Twitch viewers here or there. It does get you a bit. You know, everybody is a human being. Like, if you're watching now and you do think of yourself a little bit as an edgy or a toxic individual, it ain't nice. Like, again, we only live once. The idea that you're going to live your life just to put others down or make others feel bad, that ain't great. Like, live the best life you have, because it's not that long. Like, my last 2 years has flown by. I still think I'm 25, I'm 27. Life's too short to make other people feel bad. Have a nice life, and that includes yourself. Treat yourself nicely too. If you're BMing and being horrible to people, you're not treating yourself nice either. You're putting yourself down more than anybody else. Like, truly, you really are. But anyway, so that's good. Again, we're potentially getting a better honor system, and they're going to be looking into just asking people to be nice. So that's good. And then finally, what they're going to be doing in preseason 2022, which I can't believe we're already talking about it, but it's actually not that far away. But we're going to be getting new mage items. So mages have suffered a lot this season. Weirdly enough, they actually are back in the meta or coming back in the meta, or certain mages are coming back into the meta. And I do hope, I am going to be watching a bit of Worlds, and I do hope mages do make a bit of an impact. I like watching mages. I like watching assassins, don't get me wrong. I see what the appeal of them. They're very swish and fun and all that stuff. But nothing beats a good mage in mid lane for me. Like, that is the peak of skill for mid lane for me personally is mages. Assassins do have their place though. So they're going to be doing a defensive mythic in the Lost Chapter space, so a more defense orientated. So if you're against an Akali or something, you do have an answer to it. That would be good. But some mages struggle to make an impact around the map because they can be so easily killed. So this is the point why mages have fallen off. They don't make an impact around the map compared to an assassin. An assassin can kill a mage in a 1v1. An assassin can roam better than a mage. And if a mage roams and bumps into an assassin, they're dead. So that's why they've suffered so much. But the new mythic will guard mages by reducing incoming damage for a brief period of time when they're first attacked. Ooh, that sounds good. Again, it kind of sounds broken, to be honest, by the concept of it, but let's be honest, all the mythics are basically broken. So some of the combat power falls off after the protection expires. To ensure this item is best in the hands of champions who sling spells from a safe distance rather than the ones who trade blows in closer brawls. So there you go. And then the second new mage item is a legendary that will help mages tear through the shields of their... Oh my god, yes! Dude, they're giving mages an anti-shield item. So like the Serpent's Fang item, they're giving a mage as one of those. Oh, that is good. Nice. Okay, that's good. I don't know if that's enough. I think mages might need more than 2 new items, just saying, but 2's a good start, I guess. New tank items. So support tanks are often peeled to Locket or the Iron Solari, and therefore its defensive strengths. We want to give support tanks a more offensive mythic that rewards them for getting into the middle of the enemy team and causing havoc. That would be cool for like Leona and stuff, and who else? Nautilus, maybe? I don't know. When the user immobilizes an enemy champion, all nearby enemy champions take increased damage. Holy Jesus, it's like Vladimir Hemoplague. That sounds strong. If this sounds like Mega Abyssal Mask, that's because it is. Abyssal Mask itself will be changing to avoid the overlap, but no spoilers for now. Wow, okay. Yeah, Rel would like that as well. Yeah. Looking just beyond bot lane, another common refrain we've heard is that there's not enough mana options for spell casting tanks. We're adding a new legendary tank item that gives users a large tank of mana and a new effect that allows them to dip into that mana for additional shields every time they immobilize or slow enemies. Dude, I'm hearing this, I'm just saying, why wouldn't Rise buy this? Like, hello? Like, wouldn't that be good for Rise? Like, obviously, they're probably intending it for Taric, Rakan, and stuff, but, like, Rise? Hello? Like most mana items, we expect it to be complete for the first or second legendary a tank buys after the mythic. But there we go. And then the one, when I had a little bit of a glimpse of this, I was like, why? What is Riot doing? What class has been maybe the most problematic most of this season? Yeah, Assassins, I'd say. Why do they need more items, Riot? They don't need more items. Anyway, a lot of today's legendary tier Assassins itemization is focused on concentrated burst damage. I mean, yeah, that's what an Assassin is for. And we wanted to create an option for users that are interested in more frequent spell rotations rather than singular burst output. On an Assassin? The new legendary comes with a chunk of ability haste and a new effect that refunds some of ultimate cooldown whenever an enemy champion dies within 3 seconds of you damaging them. That doesn't sound healthy, does it? Like, what? You're getting a lot of ability haste. It's a legendary, remember, not a mythic. You can buy your mythic and you can buy this any game. The legendary, this item. You're getting a lot of ability haste. And then when anybody dies after 3 seconds of you attacking them, your ultimate cooldown goes down. Like, Kiana would like this. Zed would like this. What assassin wouldn't like this? I don't understand. Like, doesn't that seem like a really strong assassin item? I don't know. Oh dear. But yeah, they'll do one more LOL please at the end of the year. And we'll learn more then, basically. So, there we go. A long commentary, like a long video, nearly like 50 odd minutes long, but I thought we'd go through it. If you made it to the end of the video, state somewhere in your comment and I'll know you made it to the end. Give your thoughts on stuff, anything you want. Holy moly, that was long, but I'm happy we did it. That was a bunch of fun. If you guys did enjoy it, do throw a like on the video. Let me know what you think in the comments and mention obviously state. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe. See you guys next time. And hopefully League will improve. To be honest, for me, it can't get much worse than Season 11. But anyway, like, comment, subscribe. See you guys next time. Peace. Call down.